for really soon. And we're doing so by making your nuclear weapon not functioning anymore. No matter what you do, you can never do violence in that way anymore.
Excellent. I appreciate this message, and I'm sure a lot of people are very appreciative to hear this because some of what you would call some of the most respectable channels and people who are putting information out there are saying and believing these things, and they're repeating these things, and so I'm just glad that we have this opportunity to access this. So in terms of the positive extraterrestrials that are helping the planet, how, and I know we always ask questions about numbers and dates, but how many different civilizations are helping extraterrestrial and extra dimensional that are helping with this transition that the planet is going through? Would you say thousands or millions?
Little more than 6,000 is now present in your area.
6,000 different individual groups of entities?
Individuals and groups of entity working for the same conclusion and for the same reason, yes.
Beautiful. And these are positive, of course. Now, here's another question, just because you clarified that. We hear there are millions of cloaked ships around the planet with holding these 6,000 different types of civilizations and entities. Are there millions of cloaked ships around the planet right now uh, watching and sending us love? And when I say ships, you understand what I mean by
There are millions of entities sending positive enforcement to you because they are aware of what is going on and what kind of struggle it can be. So yes, you are by thought and positive energy being enforced. There are many, many ships, as you say, in the close area of your solar system, but there is not million of ships around one planet.
no, very good. In this proximity, okay.
Yeah.
Understood. And on the actual planet, underwater, we were speaking about underwater bases of extraterrestrials, and not. I don't think the dimensional would need to be underwater, or but under extraterrestrials, positive extraterrestrials. They have bases on the planet under the oceans.
No, not only if you bring them there by your submarines to
Okay,
your uh, own bases. You have your own bases on
underwater. Underwater.
yes, and in mountains, and you are aware of some of them. And the higher elite of your military have secret bases, but there is no entities there. They should not be there or is not invited there.
Ah, very good. And so, what about, we asked this before, but like I said, when we decided to do this session today, we had a desire, I'll state again, for clarifications. Um,
Nor bases of any kind is lingering in your planet anymore, not underwater, not under earth. There is not that anymore.
and when you say that, you mean in terms of extraterrestrials, negative or positive?
Extraterrestrial being able to control anything at all. They are not there.
Okay, very good. Now, what about what we call And I know I'm just clarifying because you're making this very clear, and we're very happy. No jokes, and that makes me very happy also. Um,
And you have to be aware of course, this fleet of help that is coming to you has some time to gather on your planet to plan and to put plans in action, and they need to be able sometimes to be in direct contact so they can have places where they're gathering in caves or in case in some mountains. They can go in there, gathering, planning together, and then leave for the task to be worked on.
that very good. That thank you. I appreciate that. So that it leads in two directions. Uh I'll ask this one first. Uh, Whenever this is in one direction, whenever you see on the videos of these ships, a lot of times you see them in thunderstorms, and you also see them around volcanoes. Are the ones that are around the thunderstorms, what are they doing when you see these ships, sometimes massive ships, that you are catching
They
them?
are trying to control the impact of that disaster so it will not take that bad turn or turn for the worse. They are trying to help to control that.
So when you see them fly through an explosion on a volcano, have they just affected that volcano in a positive way? Uh,
For you, positive, not for the volcano.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay, and when they're lingering around the storms, the massive storms that we see them in, what's going on in that those scenarios?
Some of the ships is depending of refuel energy, and they can use thunderstorms to just do that, renew their energy for the ships. But there are not so high vibrating ships and not from so high vibration, and they are not interdimensional ships. They are physical ships. They
And
need to be enforced, and they use thunderstorm, lightning to do that.
that is excellent answer. Thank you so much. So that means there are interdimensionals that are traveling, and then so that means those extraterrestrial ships are from somewhere here in this particular galaxy, then, or closer to the Earth.
Yes, from this galaxy, yes.
And this type of thing that's going on the Earth, it's going on throughout this entire universe at this time on all over vibrational planets.
Not all over the total galaxy, but in many places at the same time, yes.
Are there planets that are similar to the Earth and how the what's going on the planet Earth on other planets in the galaxy?
There's many planets in the same density where you are for the moment, and there is planets in even lower density or in, to speak, higher density that they are not going to be able to break free from without help from us. And we
And
are trying to assist with this now when we are assisted by the where you are placed in the universe for the moment.
so, do these other planets have elites and cabals and syndicates the same way the planet Earth has them that have been basically really gritty people who are taking advantage of everyone else?
Not in the exact same way, because your species are a rather violent species,
Okay.
but they are also being controlled by elites, but not always by the same means.
Yeah, this we seem to be extremely violent. Where does that come from? What does the violence on planet Earth, what does that stem from? It's pretty horrendous.
It stems from where a few started to, with different kind of powers, controlling the masses. And when the masses tried to fight back, you activated these strands of DNA in yourself that are built in for fight or flight. But you're now getting control over that yourself. So the need of conflict, the need of war is not going to be there for so long time.
Oh, very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
You
Thank
also need to be aware that it's a different agenda from every country on this planet. The, the elites think so differently. The cabal is shown up in so many different ways. In your country, there is a lot of fear going on. The elite is putting out that you are under attack all the time. There is terrorist attacks, and the only time you ever been attacked was that time in your big city. Your country has never been attacked, but even then you have the biggest military force in the world to protect from nothing that have ever attacked you.
so. Like you're in the big city. You meant when the buildings, the 9/11, when the Twin Towers and the building number 7, that
Yes,
attack.
yes, and that was not even during the right attention that that happened, because that was from the inside, not from the outside.
And what was the purpose behind that? Well, it's almost we absolutely already know, but just from your perspective, the purpose of that, just to promote more fear, and to enact certain laws or what have you that were.
Exactly, it was put in action because it gave a mean to keep on controlling the masses by fear. If you all time go and look behind your back, if someone is going to attack you, you can't look forward to anything. You're just prepared to defend yourself, and you are not attacked. You are attacking yourself.
Understood. Wow, this has been extremely enlightening. How, say, for instance, with this information that Lars and I are presenting with these sessions, does it put us in danger in any way from presenting this information?
You have to be aware of the response you get from this work you're doing, and be very aware where you put your energy. But you are not going to be, you are protected.
Well, because I mean, I figure our when you say that, my first thought is we're doing this in the name of love, and so many people love this, so it creates. I would say, is it true that love is more powerful than any fear or any negative energy? Is that correct?
Yes, and we would like to put a thought into your mind. What is the worst thing that can happen to you? Many of you will say, I can die. So we say, who do not die on your planet. You are all equal there. No one will ever survive life. So think of what you can do with the time you have to spend here. The most fearful thing should be, oh, I'm not able to love anymore.
Well, that's understood. Well, the so that brings up another question, of course, with myself. In these sessions, we've been informed that, in, say, for instance, Lars and myself, and like all the people who are waking up and becoming aware and whose DNA is activating, that we our life could be extended well beyond the norm than if as we go through this transition. Not that, and I already know we don't, so eventually, even if we did live for 200 years, eventually we would decide at one point that we want to focus somewhere else. Then we would relinquish the physical body, which means it would then just die, and we wouldn't die, but the body would die, and we could focus elsewhere. Uh, do you get where what I'm trying to say? Does that make any sense to you?
Absolutely. And you have already decided that kind of work you want to do long before you were rooted here on this planet.
So he and I,
And and you all have the ability to decide how long you want to linger here, but you have also to be aware that you have not signed, but we can call it signed, a contract of your work during this time on this planet. But you can still keep on doing this forever and ever if you want to.
I don't think pretty much light workers have a worry, really a worried, especially myself and Lars. We're not worried about dying, but how could we be affected? Even though as temporarily as life may seem to be from your perspective, but from our perspective, we could say be cut off from our support systems, being able to make money and paying bills or and survive in that aspect. It could become very uncomfortable, almost and torturous to people. Do you know that's what where the fear comes in with a lot of people. But that's why when I you say what is the worst thing that could happen, you could die. But if you're not able to pay your bills, then you could be put on the street. And do you get what I'm saying?
And then you will be able to contact other people if you are put on the street. But we are not foreseeing you being in that position because your intention and your work now is so important that you are supported and will be cared for. And we are also very much aware that even when you stop working, you're still able to provide for yourself and sometimes even making more money not working than when you are working because are loved and the intention is on the right path.
Well, I know that has been the truth for me for sure, and I feel very blessed in that, and and even Lars as well. And we would just like to say we are extremely grateful, and I'm sure you know our hearts already, but I'll just say it verbally out loud. We are very grateful that we are supported in that way and protected. And I hope that any of the other light workers who are listening to this in the ground crew, that they're getting the exact same message that they should live from a space of joy and doing what they love to do, and of course promoting love on the planet to help with this process.
Whatever will bring you happiness, true happiness into your heart, will always be beneficiary for many people around you.
And all the people that are suffering on the planet, we know that there's no accidents and that there is no mistakes, but it seems so heinous. There are a lot of people that are really suffering, and how long are they going to have to endure that? I figured what they chose it, but not all of it has to be is chosen, is it?
It can be, but not. It is not so in this case. It's their environment trying to control them. But you also have to realize that fewer and fewer people in the world is suffering in the way that they did 10 years ago by starving and so on. It's getting better day by day.
No, very good.
and they are also going to be helped. But there is a way to control by fear or control your physical. If you're not provided with fresh water and food, then your priority will be to get fresh water and food, and then you can't develop, and that's a way to control you also.
Well,
And
I know that California is being inundated right now uh, with some of these weapons that causing a huge drought. And there's a lot, they say a majority of the food in the United States of America is produced there. And I guess are they trying to, they're trying to produce a crisis. How long are we going to allow that to happen? I mean, a lot of people are I know I shouldn't say how long, but it's a true effort when we pray and send positive or hold positive love and energy for California and those type of scenarios. Um,
it will help them be enforced in their struggle. But you have to be aware of that is creating by the elite and the military experimenting with your environment. And that's also a way to control the masses.
well, how much? I know, and they're being successful at it. In terms of these 6,000 extraterrestrial races and entities that are helping the planet, is there any way that if enough people were to send to ask for help to allow California to have its regular rain cycles and seasons as opposed to being bombarded? How do we stop that? We need help.
To reveal what's going on from the elite side, to reveal what the military is trying to do. When you reveal and put it out to the masses, then it's the thing that they're doing is going to stop, because
So
they can't carrying it on anymore, because it's by the many that can take over the control for the few, from the few.
well, this is one way by making these videos and presenting this material as one way of getting that information out there. Is that
That's why we are grateful to be able to have this communication with you.
and of course, we are very appreciative of this communication as well. Um,
We know that you are sometimes frustrated by that it takes so long time to go through these changes. But if you think about how long have the humanity existed, how long has this planet have existed, if you think in that kind of way, you can realize that it's just a blink of an eye.
yes, understood. And thank you very much for uh, for making that statement as well. Um, that's understood. Okay, let's see.
But we also want to say that, yes, if many of you ask for help, you are getting help. Sure. But it can also take time. It's not just done in a blink of an eye, so to speak, but
Well,
it,
in our linear expression, understood.
yes. So when you destroy something, it takes some time to do that, and it often takes the same time to fix that again. So when you're destroying the planet with uh, pollution in the air, you have done that for 50 to 100 years now, and it can take 50 to 100 years before it's back to normal if nothing is done for changing. But you have to change that now. That was the reason that we showed you this lush valley with a creature traveling through this valley because you have to return to that level of energy again.
Ah, excellent. So that makes sense then. Is that expression an expression of Lars? Has he existed in that form before? Or is that, I mean, not I say before, but there's no such thing as time. Is that an expression of him in the forever moment of now simultaneously with this expression of him as Lars?
That is one expression of him,
Okay, exactly.
one of many, many, many.
Has Hank,
As you all have on your planet. You have so many expressions of yourself that you can't believe it if you saw it. And Hank, yes. Hank is an entity that have done a lot of work for so many thousands of years, not only on this planet, but in different places all over the universe, and all back to the source.
I know, I, you know, I believe that because every time I do a session, they always say they recognize me or they know me, and then they laugh, which I find amusing. So, wow. Amazing, amazing. We are so appreciative, and I know you know how appreciative we are that you'd come through in this way and deliver this message. It's almost like a weight off your shoulder to hear you come through. How is Lars's body doing right now? How's he handling this session?
He's fine and relaxed, but when we higher his frequency, he's always getting up to. But it's no problem.
I just, is there any message, particular message, uh, that you could share right now? You've shared so much, but if you think of, if you focused on this planet right now, and what would, if you could possibly think, what would the population of the planet Earth need to hear right now more than anything? And we know of love and sharing love and spreading love. What message, what other message would you have to help? Or um, I know you've already given a lot, but
Is there any more important message than be able to love your neighbor? There
no.
is not any more important message because when you are standing there, you are not separated from anyone. You feel separated, you feel isolated, but you are not. So therefore, when you treat your loved one with love and even your enemy with love, it affects everything. Affect everything. So try to stop thinking of protecting you from something that is not real. Try to start thinking of what can I do to bring this forward, and we can say that is almost only one thing you can do. That is spreading your true inner love to your neighbor.
And what in terms of, what can you speak of, uh, what can you speak of in terms of forgiveness, when it to a forgiveness to the planet?
Is it not that the same thing? When you love, you forgive. When you're forgiven, you can feel love. So when you are wrongdoing, try to change the direction by love doing.
Understood.
So there is no punishment upon you. There is no karma you still need to struggle with. There's not in effect anymore. The only struggle you have is with yourself and your belief. But as we said from the beginning, if you're starting to practice listen to your intuition, then you will never be able to be fooled or deceived or anything anymore,
No,
because you all already have all the knowledge you need, and we are all connected and helping with that.
all right. Well, we'd like to thank you for these incredible messages, and we feel very blessed to have